Hey guys, welcome to Created for This. I am Danielle Roberts. I'm an accountability coach and the author of the devotional, also named Created for This. And today I'm going to share with you a pretty personal story that I was just going to write in a blog post, but I also think there is value to having it here on the podcast and on video as well. For those of you who don't know, I bulk record or batch, and I use my videos and take the audio off and do podcasts. So when I say video and audio, that's what I mean. It's a little trick to save yourself time, and I find that there's people who prefer videos, there's people who prefer audio, and with this one, I'm going to type it up and turn it into a blog post as well. So whatever your flavor is, I aim to please. So this is going to be about when God called me to quit. So I'm just going to read it because I think that there's value in what I've written. It was January. It was cold. I just had a baby that was a few weeks old, and I was taking a break in the shower doing one of my favorite shower activities, praying. That is where I go when I need some deep God time, especially right after my son was born. I needed like my me time, and that was my self-care, taking a shower. Self-care doesn't have to be like going to get a pedicure or going to spending money. It can just be something like taking a time out in the bath or the shower. A little side note for you. So I was praying for my business because it was January and I was figuring out my goals, figuring out what I wanted to be doing with my business. I knew that God had more for me. I've always known that there's going to be transitions in business, and that's a good thing. It's also one of those things that's like, okay, so what's next? Like, where are we going from here? As I prayed, I was praying for my clients, and then I felt like God was just telling me to quit with my biggest client. I was a little bit shocked, considering that we used the money to buy food for the family, and more importantly, I wasn't ready to really quit yet. I had been with this client for 2 years, and we have a really good relationship. We still do. So one thing that I've learned is that when God calls us out of something, it's so that He can fulfill His mission. And that mission is the next best thing that He was calling me to. It's huge and it's special. So I continued to pray after that time period. I continued to pray and ask God for what His time frame was, and I finally got one. And again, I questioned if it was right because I didn't want to. I also went back and forth with the timing, and I knew that I needed to do it sooner than later. Having a Christ-centered business means that it's not always going to be convenient or expected, but it's always according to God's plan. With that being said, I told my husband, and wanted him to know that there was a financial change that was going to be happening. And God provided. God provided for us as my husband got a raise and a better paying position within his company. And we were able to prepare, and we saw other things fall into place. Because when God calls us into something, He equips us for that next step. And when I told my client, I gave her 2 months, and I was like, look, I was so scared, you guys. I didn't want to do it, but I finished I told her that, that was going to be it, that we were done at that time so that I could move on to my accountability coaching and to working on the book that I am working on. And I'm sure it was hard for her. Like, I know it was hard. But we ended things amicably. It was good, and I definitely felt that release. Like, okay, God, like, you have called me out of this. You are calling me into something that's so much more, something so much bigger than what even I imagine. Because never in my life did I think that I was going to be accountability coaching. Never in my life did I think that I was going to be authoring books. Like, I have the one devotional, but I didn't think another one was going to be happening, or I wasn't sure that another one would happen. And when we look at the Bible, we can see how when God asks us to do something, or when he leads us to a place where we have to sit and rest and wait, he provides. We can see that God is worthy to be trusted. He is sufficient in the times when we're stepping out in faith. And when we don't know what's happening next, like when I said that I was, when I told her I was going to quit with her, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if she was going to be like, okay, done. Like, no more. I'm yanking all of your permissions. Like, we're just done. Which would be totally out of character for her. But I was scared and I didn't know. And so then having God have the gracious answer that she did, and knowing that God has provided, it's huge. So if you're in that place where you just aren't sure where you're going or what you're doing, as I have followed through, and now we're about 2 months out from when I had quit with her, God has absolutely provided. He's absolutely proven himself to be trustworthy. And I am happier following his will and following his calling and continuing to pray through what he has for me and discovering new things. And it's stuff that, yes, God had given me exactly what I needed to work for her and do it well and do it, according to how he wanted me to show up as a support for her. But I'm also seeing how God has given me what I need for what he's called me to. Like my book, for instance. I am writing on, I don't know if I've shared this yet. I'm writing on Christian, how to be a Christ-centered CEO, and looking at business practices and thoughts from a Christian perspective, and taking the Bible and applying them to things like abundance and stewardship and money mindset and being a CEO, having a mission statement that reflects your relationship with Jesus. All these things that I feel ill-equipped on my own, but God has provided so many different ways. We are going through Proverbs right now in my church. And I walked out of church one Sunday and I wanted to tell the pastor and give him a big, huge hug and be like, thank you for preaching my book chapter to me, because he talked about work and the importance of work and how God has given us work, which is something that I am so passionate about, because God really seriously has given us work as a way to give glory to him, and it's something we're called to. So as I have been writing this book about how to be a Christian in your business, that happens. That's happened a couple times where he's talked about exactly what I'm writing about. And then equipping me, like my brother going to seminary. Not everybody's brother who's an author goes to seminary. So I have this huge resource in my brother. And then I've got other friends, and I've got other people, and I've got other devotionals that I've been reading, and God's just been pouring out everything I need as I've taken this next step. Yes, it's been scary, and there have been times when I'm like, okay, God, like, where's the money gonna come from? We really would like some food right now. It hasn't been that. It hasn't been to the point where we have, like, needed to buy food and not known where food's coming from, but different things that God has just blessed us in, and it's forced me to be a better steward of our money and of what we have. So, like, not letting food go to waste, like getting our crop share box, which for those of you who don't know, like CSA, you buy a portion of the produce from a farm. So getting that and saying, okay, like, I don't know how to make things with this, but we have this food and we need to make it because we've paid for it. So it's pushed me. It's pushed me in a lot of different ways, but it's so good to see how that's reflected and brought God glory. And also so I can share it with you, because I don't think that God brings us through things that are not valuable to other people. So that's a little bit about what I have been going through, and just how God has provided, how he's worthy to be trusted, and just how it's so good to know that we have a God who, yes, he will call us out of things that we are comfortable in. He will take us to places where we're just not sure how things are going to work out. But he's also a God who is so worthy to be trusted, and so that we can know that if he calls us out of something, he's going to call us to something bigger and better according to his will and to his plan. So take that and run with it and apply it, and in your business as you're praying, pray over your business. Maybe God has something for you that you would have never expected, or that he's going to use you in ways that just surprise you. I know it's happened a couple times. So be blessed, you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.